Cafe, my pet info cafe. Pour yourself a warm cup of your favorite. Hold a furry friend in your lap, and let's chat about our love of animals. I'm your host, Jennifer Eileen, and I am so delighted to present our topics today, Westies. Let's hear from our guest, Stephen D. Julian, Director, Westie Rescue, MidAtlantic, and also please welcome our very special guests, Mr. Fergus and Mr. Alec.
Put your butt down.
Stephen. So I apparently have the lap dog completely.
Yes, you do. You have Alec?
I have Alec.
He is 7 years old.
Okay. Tell me more.
So Alec's one of the guys we picked up. So every year we do somewhere between 75 and 100 dogs. So our program is real simple. We rescue, rehabilitate, and rehaul. In his case, he came out of southern Jersey, right near the Delaware border. The owner called me up and let me know she was moving into assisted living and couldn't take her best friend with her.
Oh.
Very hard, lots of tears. So I met her on the border of Delaware and New Jersey. Alec came into my arms. Our program is, like I mentioned earlier, our program is very simple. They go directly to our vet. We use a couple of vets in the area. He went to our vet in Annapolis. He got all his shots updated, got his health check done. Yeah, you can just pick him up.
Okay, good one, sweetie.
He's looking around.
Okay, you looking around,
Yeah,
baby? There we go. All right.
So he went to our vet, got all his shots updated. And while that was going on, I lined up his new home.
Aww.
And so when he was ready in his blood test, because we do a blood test to make sure there's nothing hidden beneath the surface, as they say, his blood tests all came back perfect. His new owners drove over to the hospital, picked him up right from the hospital, and he's now living right down by the Bellhaven golf course right in Alexandria, just south of Old Town. And so again, he's about 7 years old. He's one of the, let's see, this year he's one of 9 we've already done this year.
That's excellent. Well, let's just say more about Westie Rescue, the MidAtlantic, your
Sure.
history, how you started,
So
how
I
it
got
works.
involved. So it's real simple. I got involved in this many years ago. In Alexandria, they do a Christmas parade.
Yeah.
And 30 years ago, I saw an ad in the paper that they're going to have a Christmas parade and they're going to have Scottish dogs. So I took my Westie and sat on the curb, and when the Westies came by, they said, "Come on and join in." So I went and joined in the parade. And while we were walking along, there was a woman there that had 5 dogs on one of these splitter leads. And every time the parade would stop, her dogs were perfect. They lined up and sat down. They didn't commingle. They didn't twist around. I was very impressed because my guy was like, "Oh my gosh, you look just like me. Oh my goodness, you look like me." So when the parade was over, I stopped and talked to her, and she said, "Oh, these are all rescue dogs." And I said, "Well, who gives up a West Highland White Terrier?"
Right.
And so I gave her my business card, said, "If you ever need any help, I'd be glad to help." And so a couple days later, she called me up, and I picked up my first guy out at Prince George's County shelter. He was totally bald. He had what's called as a skin infection. It's called malastasia. It's a very treatable with shampoos and internal meds. And that was 1,300 Westies ago.
1,300.
So I've been in 30 years. I've done 1,300 of them.
Oh my.
And so, like I said, the organization's been around for 33 years. I got involved in it 30 years ago, and I guess I'm the president, as they say. Which means you're also the chief bottle washer.
Yes, chief dog washer.
Oh yeah, dog washer, dog picker-upper, dog placer, all those kinds of good titles. So our program's very simple. So what we do is we find people that want to have dogs, and I'm in sales for a living. And so you always want more demand for what you have. That way you can pick among the best homes for that particular dog, as opposed to turning the thumb screws to your friends, neighbors, and relatives. Because sooner or later you're going to run out of friends, neighbors, and relatives. So every year we've got about 400 to 500 people on a waiting list. And last year we did 75 dogs. Oh yeah, he wants to wander around.
All right, I've got the leash.
So like I said earlier, everybody goes directly to our vet when we pick them up. In a given year, 80% of the dogs that we get in come in from seniors moving into assisted living or people who can't take care of their dog anymore. Alec, up this way. Stay here.
Alec.
Can't wander off. So when they come in, they go directly to our vet to make sure everything's okay. And then while that's going on, getting neutered, shots updated, whatever needs to be done, I go through a list of all the applicants to see who can best fulfill the dreams of this particular dog. Because I try to tell people we're really in the dog dream fulfillment business.
Oh.
And so what we try to do is find people who match up to the dog's needs and wants. So in Alex's case, I wanted a younger couple that had high energy because he's a guy who wants to go for power walks. He'll do 2 or 3 miles a day easily. And so I have a couple that they don't have any children and they want someone to hang out with and go places and go to the Eastern Shore with them. And so that's where he went, and it's a perfect match, as they say. I bet about 99% accurate finding the right home the first time.
Yes. Well, what what makes a Westie, a pet? What and how are they different from other dogs?
So they're a very typical terrier. So every terrier you've ever heard of originates from Scottish Terriers. Scottish Terriers have been around since the 1400s. Westies did not exist as a breed until end of the 1800s. So they're originally bred out of Cairn Terriers, and anybody who's ever watched Wizard of Oz knows that Toto is a Cairn Terrier. Cairn Terriers can come in any color other than white. If they're white, it's a Westie. So back at the turn of the century, a guy went hunting with his favorite animals, and when he went out hunting, he shot his favorite buddy that was a Cairn Terrier that looked just like the fox he was hunting, and he decided then and there he was only going to breed the white ones, because until that point in time, the white ones were put down as a sign of bad luck.
Oh my goodness.
So he started breeding the white ones, which is where Westies originate from. So they're originally out of Cairn Terrier. So again, the AKC accepted them as a breed in 1890 something, and they're just a wonderful breed. I tell people it's the best import from Scotland.
Yes, it certainly is. And the Terrier, I think, was the winner of the AKC.
I believe it was.
The Westminster
I can't
Dog
remember
Show.
what breed it was, but yeah.
I think it was. So that's exciting for.
So to answer your question, they're a very typical terrier. Terrier is always on guard. They're always interested in what's going on. They're the only dog I've ever noticed that can be totally sound asleep, but when they hear a sound, like the mailman putting a letter in your mailbox, they're awake and they hit the front door, let you know that a burglar is trying to break in. So you never have to worry about missing the kid cutting through your front yard. You never have to miss the mailman coming down the street or the UPS guy coming. They'll definitely guard you from those horrible events in your daily activity. But they're totally loyal. They're very gentle. The vast majority are human focused, like Alec and Fergus here. They'll literally do whatever you want. You can tell them to sit down, they'll put their little butts down, and they'll stay just as your best buddy. And when it comes time to go to bed, they usually have a choice. They'll either choose your bed, which means you won't have much room, or you can choose to make them sleep in their own bed. In Fergus's case, he sleeps on the bed, and he migrates sideways during the night, so you end up with your feet hanging off the edge. And boys.
Yes.
Boys. Yes, that's right. But go ahead.
Well, let's hear more about Fergus's story. So you were telling me you.
So Fergus, Fergus is interesting. He's my current Westie. I've had him for it'll be 16 years in March. Fergus's mom, I got a phone call from Suffolk County Shelter saying, we have a bunch of dogs. Can you come down and help us? And we have 114 dogs. They broke up a puppy mill that somebody was running in their townhouse, if you can imagine that. And I said, please tell me they're not all Westies. He says, oh, no, they're teacup Yorkies. The vast majority are. And so when I got to their shelter in the morning, I called into work and played hooky and drove all the way down to Suffolk. And when I got down there, in all the runs were things about the size of a hard ball running around. Little teacup Yorkies, literally you can hold them in one hand. And they had 108 of them. If you can imagine that, they're all about this big running around. And all the way in the end was a series of Westies. When I picked up one of the females, it was like picking up a bag of potatoes. You could feel little heads and little feet inside her. So 3 days later, she gave birth to 6 brothers and sisters. And when it came at 10 weeks, one of my volunteers whelped them. At 10 weeks, we placed everybody. And nobody wanted the big fat male because he was literally twice the size of everybody else. And so my wife thought he was the cutest thing she ever saw. And I tried to explain to her that he is going to end up looking just like Daddy, which is huge, because he's an extra large version for a Westie. Yes, lay down. And so he came and stayed with us. He is my best buddy. He travels with me on all the pickups. Last year he did about 18,000 miles picking up dogs. Because he goes with me, we pick them up, bring them into the shelter, into our vet, and then we place them. So we visit shelters, homes, wherever the dog may be. That's where we go to pick them up.
So that makes him kind of an ambassador?
Yeah, kind of an ambassador. He does all the Scottish events with me. We do quite a few public events. We do the Christmas parade here in Alexandria. We do a bunch of the Scottish festivals up and down the East Coast.
Okay.
And so yeah, we bring dogs along. I call it a pet farm. So you get to come in and pet the dogs and touch them. And that way everybody gets a chance to feel them, see what they're like. Pardon me, can you sit down? Thank you. And so what we try to do with these public events and this type of event, this talk here, is to tell people they're just a wonderful breed. It's a chance that, you can come and pet them and see. Because what we try to do when we do a placement is we see the interaction that the humans have with the dog. And if it looks like a good match, the dog goes off with them on a trial stay. Mm-hmm. They stay with them for about a week. And people tell us, is it a good fit or a bad fit? Well, I bet about 98% accuracy, and 99% of them stay at their home. They start off in. So, and like I said earlier, they're just a wonderful breed. They're friendly, they're highly active, they'll be your best buddy, and they bond with you forever. I mean, you can literally, I have one joke to tell you. So every year we do a gathering of all the dogs we've placed. And one year we did it at my house. I had 117 Westies at my house. I had a big yard at that time. And so anyhow, we had all these Westies, and one little old lady was very frightened about taking her dog off a lead because she was sure at the end of the day, since they're all white and they all have black noses, they all look the same, that she would never be able to find her dog. So 2 hours later, there she was sitting on a park bench in my backyard with her little female Westie that had come over, found her, and was sitting next to her. And meanwhile, there's 100 Westies running around my backyard having a wonderful time, chasing each other, playing with balls, eating Cheetos, all the kinds of things you shouldn't give your dog. So the other question everybody wants to know is, how do you keep a dog alive for 16 plus years? And so I can tell you that the trick I found with Fergus is he likes McDonald's French fries. So once every week or so, we go to McDonald's drive-through and get French fries.
Oh my gosh. Oh my.
So that keeps him alive because I think that's what he's looking forward to all the time.
Well, he's quite the star. When we were at the Christmas parade, he was riding around in the wagon with his other geezer. I'm not sure if his buddy was a geezer.
Yeah, his other buddy was a geezer,
Yeah,
too.
It was the geezer
Another
wagon.
15-year-old, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so Fergus has been doing that event that was his 15th year. So I took him when he was just about, I think he was probably, 9 months old the first time he went. So he's been going every year, and as long as he stays alive, we'll keep bringing him. So my goal is to make him past his 17th birthday. That's the goal.
That's fabulous.
Because the oldest ones I've ever placed, I placed a pair of 12-year-olds that lasted till they were 20 years old. And that's the oldest Westies I've ever heard of.
Did they eat French fries?
No. Their owner had passed away, and the family did not want the dog, so they just left him out in the backyard, and a neighbor took him in, gave me a call, and I picked him up. And they were like they were two little girls. They were like little bookends. And when they got well, they were pretty sick when I got them. When they got well, I placed them with a woman who lives up on the Jersey border, and she thinks she died and went to heaven. She's a nurse, and so they got the best care possible, which kept them alive for many, many years.
Oh,
and they literally passed away about 6 months apart. And again, they just they're programmed to bore into your heart. So you take care of them throughout their life and then take care of them at the end of their lives. Right, Bonehead? Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's my job.
Well, speaking of that, of the people we met at the parade, people told us about how their lives have changed because of the Westies. Can you tell us some great stories about that?
Sure.
How people's lives have changed?
I've got quite a few. One of the evils having placed 1,300. I mean, there's lots of stories to tell. So one of the best stories I have is I got a guy that came in from an Alzheimer's patient. So the dog had no schedule, was very, very confused when I first got him. Nobody could touch him because he came out of a household with chaos. He stayed with me for about 3 weeks. Nobody could touch him, like I mentioned. And so he was at my house on the 5th day. And what I would do every day is I would feed him by himself and sit on the floor near him and just let him eat. And when he got finished eating, he would, wander by, do a little pet as he went by. But he didn't want to have you touch him. He wanted to sit 5-6 feet away from you and then look at you. On the 5th day, he ran across the room and jumped in my lap, and I thought for sure this guy's going to try to bite me. But what he wanted to do was sit in my lap. And from that point on, I could do anything to that dog. I could brush him, I could clean his ears, I could clean his eyes. I was his best buddy. And if I was outside working on cars, he would come and sit out next to me in the car. He would sit on the driveway. He wanted to be right next to you. So he was a guy's dog. He needed to have a guy with him. So on my list, I had an ex-military guy who'd been deployed one too many times, was having a little bit of PTS problems. So I called him up. He lives down in Southwest Virginia. And I said, I think I've got somebody for you that will be your best buddy. Yeah, just pick him up.
There you go.
A wandering. Okay. That's a wanderer.
Okay.
So the guy, he came to my house, and that little guy looked at him and went, Daddy. Walked over, sniffed him all over, jumped in his truck and said, okay, let's go. So I told him, I said, here's the rules. Let him do whatever he wants for the first 3 days. He'll come and tell you when it's time for you to touch him, pet him, and he's now got your trust. Because the challenge with a lot of the dogs we get in that have behavior problems is they don't have any human trust. They're afraid. And that trust issue becomes a way for them to figure out who's in charge, what the rules are, what the schedule is, and where they fit in the pack hierarchy. So I told him, I said, that's the rules. Just let him be whatever he wants to do. He'll come and tell you when it's time that you'll bond like two buddies. Well, he left. About an hour and a half later, he called and told me that he was driving down 66, and just before they got to 81, the dog was sitting in the passenger seat, got up, went across the center console, and was laying in his arms as he's driving down 81 with tucked into his left arm, his head resting on his left arm as he drove down the interstate. And so he tells the story that the dog would literally sit on the edge of the bed, and then when he had tremors at night and worries at night, the dog would come over and lay down next to him and let him know that he's on guard duty. If there was a sound outside, the dog would alert on the bed and would wait for him to rise in the bed before he would jump off the bed. He would go to the doorway and wait for him to get out of bed before he'd leave the room, and they would check the house out together. And then when they went outside, he always made sure he stayed 5 feet in front of him between whatever the noise was and him. So one of the challenges, guys, that are coming back from deployment is you live in an environment where there's 300 people guarding you. When you go to bed at night, you don't have to worry about someone coming through the fence or through the wire or into the hooch that you're in, because there's somebody on guard duty that's going to stop that. You'll hear the noise long before they get to you. Well, when you move into your house by yourself, you're all by yourself. So all the fears and all the worries and all the dramas replay in your dreams, and it becomes a concern. So in his case, what he mentioned was, as the days went by, he stopped worrying. Because when he would leave during the day, he put cameras in his house and outside his house because he was worried what's going on. That he noticed the dog would literally sit by the front door and get up every couple hours, go get a drink of water, and come back and lay on the mat in front of the door and wait for him to come home. The minute he hit the driveway, the dog would alert and wait for the door to open. And so he never had to worry about what went on inside his house when he was gone. And at night, because the dog slept with him every night as his best buddy, he knew what was going on and what to worry. So that's an example of somebody who bonded with a dog and found himself losing the terrors that come from being deployed one too many times. So on the better notes, there's other stories, much happier ones than that.
That's a very happy story. Wonderful.
Those kind of stories tell you that what they really do is they figure out what your moods are. So I have single women who've adopted dogs. The vast majority of people who adopt dogs from us are women between the ages of 45 and 65 years old. That's the vast majority of women. Because I try to explain to guys, if you want a guy's dog, this is a dog for you. They act like they're 70 pounds. They think they're 7 foot tall. They behave as such. And when they get in trouble, you can tuck them under your arm and take them home.
Yeah.
And by the way, they're the biggest babe magnet in the world. If you're a single guy, this is a dog you should adopt. pick one up, go hang out at Metro. Trust me, you'll be fighting women off with a stick. Because everybody goes, oh my goodness, that's such a cute dog.
I just think
Except
your
for this one,
adoption
they go,
meter
it's a
went
big
up.
fat one.
That's just an amazing story. And the ladies, I met ladies at the walk
Right.
who said that, you know, in kind of the generation you were talking about, I think they had 4 Westies with
They've
them.
adopted 4. One of the sisters adopted 2 Westies from me, and then just adopted another 2 from me, separately, 2 individual ones. The other sister adopted. She's on her 2nd one from me.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have lots of, you know. Here's how our program works. It's real simple.
Yeah.
Everything in our program is simple. You know, keep it simple, stupid, as they say. So we have. I have lots of people on my waiting list. I have them divided into 3 categories. People who've adopted from me in the past move to the front of the line for the first dog that comes in, so they get first pick of the litter, as they say. The next group is the people who have had terriers or Westies in particular, and then there's everybody else. The first 2 groups take 80% of the dogs that we come in, or we get in, I should say. And the reason why is because people who've had a Westie, they don't want another breed. They want somebody who's got lots of attitude, who's going to be a best friend, who's going to drive them stark raving nuts at times, and will be there. They'll worm their way into their heart. You know, they're like a little clown on 4 legs. Fergus, can I help you? Can you sit down?
I think you saw the treats.
I know, yeah.
Yeah.
Fergus is motivated by one thing.
French fries.
French fries and food.
There you go. Good boy.
Sorry, you're not going to get any because you just drop it. So yeah. So again, yeah, many people, like I just placed a Westie 2 weeks ago to a woman who's in her 90s. Her daughter lives with her, and she's adopted 5 Westies from me over the last 30 years. And she always adopts the seniors, and some of them last 6 months, some of them last a couple of years. And so her last one passed away at 15, and she was ready. She waited a month and a half and let me know that she's very lonely and wants someone to putter around the yard with her. So Westie came in that was the biggest suck up, and it's almost like Alec. It's just a total suck up.
Yeah.
He'll sit on your lap. All he wants to do is be your best buddy. So I called her on the phone. I said, I think I've got you another Mr. Right for you. And he went to visit her and stayed. He'll stay forever. She thinks she's died and went to heaven. She calls me once a week to let me know how wonderful and how I'm able to pick out the best buddies for her. And I keep telling her, what we try to do is we try to find dogs to fit into the life of the person who's adopting them. In other words, round pegs and round holes. And that's what we do. So I found this very, very quiet, older guy that literally wants to go outside for a little walk and then come inside and snooze. Well, since she's in her 90s, she goes out for a 20-minute walk, and then she wants to come back in the house and have a 2-hour snooze. So the 2 of them, they cycle exactly the same way.
That's great. Well, the ladies that we talked to said, you know, they got more exercise, they going hiking, meeting their neighbors. Oh, yeah.
If you have a Westie, you'll be out in the rain. You'll be out 3 to 5 times a year. You'll meet all the people you didn't know live in your neighborhood. You'll be shocked to find out that there's more people in your neighborhood than you knew. If you live in a townhouse, you hardly ever see your neighbor, but the minute you get a dog, you'll know every dog's name, but you'll forget the neighbors' names. So you'll go out every day and say hello to somebody, and they'll see you, and they'll go, hey, Fergus.
Yeah. So memorable. And you know, one thing about Fergus as an old dog is like, I don't know if he's getting gray because he's all white.
That's the good thing about West Highland White Terriers is that when they get older, they're still white. They start off white at the beginning and they end up white.
Right.
So they don't change. You never know. You know, he walks real slow. And he'll choke for us now.
Yeah, thank you, Fergus.
Now that I choked him and pulled on him, he'll choke for us. Make sure you cough there, buddy. So yeah. But go ahead. What other questions do you have for me?
Well, I just kind of, as we kind of come near the close, just what should somebody do? Go to your website, do you have a questionnaire? What should they tell them about themselves so that you can find the right match? Because it's clear that you've got the touch for matching people.
Oh, yeah. So, like I mentioned earlier, our program is very simple. I set up a website called WestieRescue.com. And the way WestieRescue.com is, it's an international site. I dreamed this thing up many years ago to help all the little groups around the country get access to the internet So when people who are interested in adopting or people who want to give up their dog can find that local volunteer. So you simply come into our website. You can, if you're in a state, you simply want to say, I want to adopt. You click on I want to adopt. You fill out an application. When you select the state you live in, and when you hit submit, it automatically goes to the group that covers that particular area. So there's 27 organizations across the country. I cover the Mid-Atlantic area. We do, like I said, we do about 100. California does about 100 a year. And so together, across the country, we do about 230, 300 dogs a year. It fluctuates. I've done as many as 125 in a year, and I've done as few as 25. It depends. If you can tell me who's giving up the dogs, I can tell you how many we're going to get. So the website allows you to fill out an application. People who find themselves in circumstances beyond their control that want to release or surrender their dog can simply fill out a form. It automatically drops into that group's inbox. That group would then contact them like I would and say, yes, we can help your dog. And we take any dog from any environment. People give us dogs that are, chewers. People give us dogs that are happy. People give us dogs that have behavior problems. But the vast majority are happy, friendly dogs, just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Well, Stephen, thank you for that information. I think that's a great thought to close on.
Yep.
Thank you so much for your time. Thanks to Stephen DeJulian and the Westie Rescue of Mid-Atlantic and our special Westie guests, Fergus and Alec. I hope you've enjoyed this very special episode of Pet Info Cafe. For more information about Westie Rescues, you may visit my website, petinfocafe.com.